Your micro brain on climate.
Hello, Dave here, and welcome to this micro episode of Your Brain on Climate. When is the last time you were bored? Now, on one level, I'm going to suggest the answer to that is not for a while. Modern life is, after all, appalled by the idea of you being bored. Not to come over all Naomi Klein about things, but when you're bored, you're not making capitalism any money. But it is true, there is more music to listen to than you could ever listen to, more things to shop for, less time to wait for it to arrive. Boredom is unacceptable and increasingly impossible. And there in your pocket lies that majestic, chirpy little demon, a black shiny rectangle that offers you infinite, immediate, constant distraction from boredom.
Bored!
The very first second you might worry you're about to get bored, that panic, that uncomfortable panic at the potential restlessness of your overstimulated brain. Well, now you don't need to worry about it. Whip out your phone, standing in line at a supermarket, waiting for a train, get your phone out, look at some videos of cats falling off a garage roof, or some celebrity gossip, or football goals, or whatever else you want for as long as you like. Panic not. You need never be bored. Although, but most of that content is kind of empty calories, isn't it? Boredom-wise. It's junk food for the brain. So you may be distracted, but are you nourished? I've certainly caught myself just the other day, actually, slumped on the sofa, mindlessly flicking through unending shit served up to me by algorithms, looking at the screen with a kind of glassy stare, and realising that while I was, in theory, occupied, I was, in practice, even more bored than ever. What do we miss when we're so scared of being bored that we will do anything except sit or stand quietly and just be in the world and take it in? Well, a couple of years ago, I talked about that and much else besides in my chat with Simon Mundy. Simon is the BBC sports broadcaster turned life coach, podcaster, and source of wisdom, whose shows have been a huge inspiration to me for the idea for this show and how it plays out. We talked about success in life, how illusory it can be, how constantly we chase it and want more and more and more, and what success really looks like. Why always being in search of that next win or that next triumph means you're going to wake up one day and realise you missed life because you were too busy chasing something you can never really have. And we talked about being bored and why allowing yourself to be bored might be, says Simon, one of the most important things you can do to reconnect with the beauty and the tragedy of the natural world around us. So here's a clip from that interview.
Yeah, so for the first time in history, we don't have to be bored. When I was growing up, if I was waiting for a train, I had to wait for the train. If I was queuing to get something, I just had to queue. Whereas now, obviously, we all have these things, don't we, in our pockets, these digital distraction devices that we can reach for. And I think it's problematic on several levels. I think that we are not allowing our brains to power down first. And so that's causing a massive increase in mental health and anxiety and stuff like that. Obviously, there's the question of the content that people are seeing, which is focused on. But actually, I think the bigger problem is just the amount that people are on the phones. It's an addiction device, right? And because we're so distracted and distractible, then we're not looking up, and then we're not noticing what's happening around us. When I walk or when I get a train, I will just stand there. If I'm on the platform, I always look down, and people are on their phones, head over, and they're missing this moment, right? Because this moment is the only moment that matters. We never actually experience the future. We never actually experience the past. It's only ever now. But most people use this moment as a means to get to a more important future moment, which is where the success and the not enough stuff sort of comes from. And so I think that by not looking up and by being perpetually in this state of distraction and comparison, and like you say, being sucked in by these glossy images, and I'm not enough, and that's just being reinforced by social media. We're missing these, the really big issues, but we're also just suffering individually. You can't get into flow, for example, if you're permanently distracted. And so that ability to be engrossed in something like you are when you go to a football match is being robbed of us. And then people aren't doing things like, creative endeavors to the same degree. We know the mental health's a massive problem, but then also we're turning a blind eye to the really big issues. For example, climate change.
Yeah, and even the stuff around us, right? Like we're walking through the park on our phone or listening to a podcast. Not that podcasts aren't important, but I do sometimes think I might listen to too many podcasts. You're not looking around and seeing the state of things. And, the amount of times you see people with their loved ones on trains, and you just got, like, I do this all the time as well, sat next to my wife and we're both on our phones and not talking to each other. And all of those seconds are lost and they're never coming back, right?
No.
And there's something about, like, I don't know, maybe looking around us and seeing what is here and what we might lose and what we're losing, whether that's trees or people.
Yeah.
Feels
completely. Yeah, a couple of things spring to mind. I was walking back from the park the other day and I noticed stuff was just blooming early. Obviously, I would have missed that if I'd have been on my phone. So that's one thing. I was like, gosh, this is alarming. Right, so that's part number one. And then another one, I remember, and ironically, I did film a little video about this, but I just thought, you've got to meet people where they're at. But I was on the train platform. As I said, when I'm on the train platform, I will just stand there. It's a moment of stillness to look around, and I sort of filmed this thing, and behind me you could see all these people on the platform, and everyone's on the platform staring at their phone. And I said, if everyone here knew it was their last day on Earth, of course they'd look around and go, shit, what am I missing? Right? You look up above you, right? Okay, it's a sky, just this blue canvas. But actually, consider that. As far as we know, that goes on and on and on and on, potentially to infinity, right? That's pretty mad. That's certainly more interesting, really, on a deep level than anything on, scrolling through a tweet or what someone's opinion on the latest political scandal. The feeling of the wind, I remember the feeling the wind on my, sensations of the wind on my face, listening to birds. So I love just those simple things. Like even now I'm looking out my window, you can see the wind going, and it's so easy to miss the everyday miracles that are all around us, and they are all around us. And that comes back to this point around presence, around, this moment is the only moment that matters, and this moment is enough as it is. We don't need to add to it. And that means just go outside and literally look, and it's enough. Like it's miraculous if you can pay attention to it. And I don't mean think about it, right? When I'm in the park and I see a beautiful landscape, the moment of real beauty is not when my mind goes, oh, isn't that beautiful? It's in the recognition beforehand. And when the mind is silent, and it's not like there's you and the landscape, there's just the landscape. And then the mind chirps up with, oh, isn't this beautiful, right? But that's not where the beauty is. It's before the mind starts commentating. Because it's a bit like having subtitles on your telly, right? The subtitles are not the movie. The movie is just the pure, direct experience. What you see, what you sense, what you feel, what you touch, those kind of things that are immediate, that are inherently absolutely present, whereas our thoughts about them can never refer to the direct present. And we're far too caught up in our thoughts and our thinking, as opposed to this direct awareness in which beauty and all these things, where you can really connect with the magnificence of nature on a really deep, profound and fulfilling level, as opposed to, so what, it's just another landscape.
Your micro brain on climate. climate.
If you like that chat with Simon Mundy, check out the full episode from 2024 called Success. There's a link in the show notes. Thanks massively to everyone who sponsors me on this show. It's a small but a loyal army, and it means I can keep on bringing you this stuff and paying my guests. My sponsors sponsor me over at patreon.com/yourbrainonclimate, and just a couple of quid a month from them helps keep this show on the road. So if you would like to join them and express your thanks and gratitude, I will be very, very thanked and grateful indeed. I'm just in the middle of recording a great long slew of episodes for the coming months with some seriously brilliant people. Got a few in the can already. I know you're going to love them. So I'm looking forward to bringing them to you. And until then, I will be back soon. Look after yourself. Bye, bye, bye. Bye. No, bye. Bye now, really, bye.